All right.
We
We're
we are recording, yes.
We're recording. Okay. Hooray, hooray! It's the 1st of May. Outdoor screwing. Hey yo! And you've got the first part in quotation marks. What's that from?
My dad posts it on Facebook every year on May 1st.
Hooray, hooray! It's the 1st of May. Outdoor screwing
Starts today.
starts today. Okay, well, you must be living in a sunnier clime than I am. Apart from the being celibate since 1998, I wouldn't be thinking about outdoor screwing on the 1st of May.
Well, that was...
maybe we could substitute Guinevere's song from Camelot. It's May, the lusty month of May, which is, basically the same sentiment, but just not quite as overt as your dad tends to get.
Well, he posted it, and by me, it was in the 30s and snowing, and somebody commented of, no, that's not happening. And somebody else says, well, why don't you just do it year-round? It's like, because eventually it gets cold.
These people, like I say, live in sunnier climes than we do. We should wish all the people who didn't get laid in high school a happy May the 4th be with you, present company included. And that was pretty clever. Whoever came up with May the 4th be with you, that has spread like wildfire. And apart from people like me who just aren't engaged with modern society, probably there's very, very few people that don't think on May the 4th Star Wars.
So, you're not going to believe who actually came up with that.
I'm not?
You're not going to believe it.
Okay.
It does have a service connection. I mean, and not the tangible, they both came out in 1977, or Gene Day was a huge fan, and there was the portfolio ad in the back of issue 1. May the 4th was originally proposed by Margaret Thatcher.
Really?
She gave a speech, and back when Star Wars was super popular, and said that, and said, May the 4th be with you type thing, and people latched onto it, because the first movie came out, I remember it's the end of May.
Well,
And
good for Margaret Thatcher or one of her speechwriters, anyway.
well, that's it. Star Wars Day for the old school, high school virgins is, I think, May 22nd. But then after she gave this speech about May the 4th and supporting Star Wars, everybody, it spread because it's one of those, viral things of, well, it just makes sense. Yeah, let's do that. It's like, well, all the grumpy fans are going, well, but it's not actually Star Wars Day. It's like, yeah, well, you guys, everybody lost that one. It's May the 4th. I mean, George Lucas kind of sort of wrote the concept when he said, May the Force be with you.
Yes. And since the Saturday this is going up is Free Comic Book Day 2023, we should also acknowledge that. Yes, happy Free Comic Book Day for everybody tuning in today who has either just got back from the comic store or is heading out to their LCS for Free Comic Book Day. That started a long time ago, and it's been in continuous operation for it's got to be decades now.
I'm trying to think. I can't remember when the first one was.
It was the Four Colors comics store guy in California, and Grandpa's memory is playing him false. We don't want to be just listening to me going for 20 minutes. Joe Field Joe Field at Flying Color Comics and Games in Concord, California, was the one who came up with Free Comic Book Day. And as far as I know, he still has a supervisory capacity of deciding which publishers get to do Free Comic Book Day comic books and which ones don't.
Okay.
All right. Hope everybody picked up the capital HOT with asterisks on either end. Hot book that will only, all caps, increase in value and not whatever crap Marvel and DC threw out there. Do you go to Free Comic Book Day to find out what they've got going?
Some years I'll go, some years I don't. Back when it first started, the comic book store that I went to all the time, I wouldn't go on Free Comic Book Day. I would go a week later, and the guy that ran the place would give me, because most places limit you to like 3 or 4 free comics, and I'd go a week later and he'd give me everything that he had left, so that, if there's 20 books, I'd get all 20.
That's pretty cool.
And, well, they went out of business, and now the place I go is limiting me to 3. But I have 2 kids, so technically I can get 9. If I bring the wife, I get 12.
That's probably why they went out of business. They gave all of their profits to you. I'm just kidding.
Back in my
anybody remember 2020 and the free service in hell with a question mark issue I got made for everybody? You're still welcome. And yes, we still owe you a massive debt from 3 years ago, Matt.
Well, that was the COVID hit, and okay, we did the first 3 coronavirus books, and okay, we're done. We're not doing this anymore. Everybody agreed we're killing ourselves. This isn't going to work. And then I'm like, hey, you guys, Saturday's Free Comic Day. You think we can get an issue done in a week? And immediately it was everybody, uniforms back on. We're going back out on the ice. We're going to do this, one more time.
And so it was done.
And you can supposedly still get a print copy because Diamond still has League of Extraordinary Corona in stock, according to the latest Service in Hell that I saw the back cover of.
So there you go. Just go to your LCS and tell them you want one of those, and if they want to give you an argument, just say, I've got the back cover of the comic book right here, and it says you can still get these.
Well, I'm going to double check with Eddie and make sure that it's in stock, because he's pretty good on, they gave us the list and this is what they say they have.
Right. They do have troubles with the disconnect between the warehouse and the office. Tends to be getting more the rule than the exception, where books disappear and then reappear inexplicably, and then disappear again because somebody counted them, but they just got grandfathered into the inventory list. And then you point out, it's my turn to remember Jeff Seiler, and this particular memory involves something that's in the large flat envelope I sent you, which the internet says was delivered yesterday. If it was, could you please have Rolly scan and email the drawing that isn't by Neil Adams? Thanks in advance. And if it wasn't delivered yesterday, what the hell, internet? I'm beginning to think I can't trust you anymore. I thought we had something special. I let you into my home. I've given you my credit card number. And this is how you treat me? Good day, sir. I say, good day. Yes, it did come in, and I was just getting to the end of the 8 or 9 hours that I put in on processing the stuff that you sent in the last week or so for the Cerebus archive, and thought, okay, that's finally behind me. And then I read this, the drawing that isn't by Neil Adams, and I'm going, that's right. I got the 6 Neil Adams prints, and I definitely processed those immediately because there is a place for the prints now in the Cerebus archive. But there was a drawing with it, and it was a strange drawing. What did I do with that? So then it was off on hunt mode, going, well, wherever it is in the debris field, it's at the top of the pile because it just came in last week. I haven't done anything else on the Cerebus archive except what I got from Matt Dow. So that's the segue, because I did find it and I did give it to Rolly and he did scan it and it has been emailed to you.
Okay. So now that I can put this in the video so people can see what I'm talking about, back in one of the early spaces where all the Yahoos got together, so 2005 at the earliest, more likely 2006, Jeff, it was the first year of Cerebus Readers in Crisis, so I believe that's 2006. Now I'm getting to be Grandpa-y, and I can't remember.
No, these are going to degenerate to the point. We don't even know what the other guy said 5 minutes ago. But keep going, because they will be able to look at this.
Jeff got a table, I had a table, and we got tables next to each other. And Bob Corby or his wife had walked around taking photos and got a picture of me, or Jeff, Paula, and me. And it went up on the Space website credited as Jeff and Paula Seiler and Matt Dow. And
I never heard this one before.
And you know, we somebody pointed it out that someone made a mistake, and Bob was all apologetic. Oh, I'll fix it. And we're like, no, we think it's hilarious, because it became a running joke of she's his wife and he's only letting me bow her.
Okay, that explains Paula's note on the drawing that they're looking at right now.
So that particular drawing is the next year at Space. Jeff Tundis had Faber-Castell color markers and was showing them to you, and you were like, oh, that's neat, and grabbed this random piece of paper and was just... we were all sitting hanging out, and you were playing with them, you know, going, okay, yeah, these are neat, but, you know, I'm really not a color guy, but, you know, if ever I need type thing. And, you know, had set it aside, and then you went off, because it was, you know, getting close to the end of Saturday, beginning of Sunday, so you had to go back to your room, and we were all hanging out, and someone on the Yahoo group had, as we have said in past Please Holds, Jeff had a tendency to get on people's nerves. You know, he would get pendetic, and people would just, you know, take him to task, and he would take them to task, and it would become a bit of a row of, you know, Jeff being Jeff, and other people getting mad at Jeff for being Jeff, and whoever it was, and I honestly, I probably could remember if I really wanted to try, but at this point, it doesn't pay, because it's not like I'm going to do what we were going to do, which was I grabbed the piece of paper and wrote what I wrote around the color that you had scribbled on there, and then I passed around, like, all right, you know, I did my drawing of Jeff and what I wrote about Jeff, and I passed it around to everybody in the room of, okay, sign this, you know, write something nice about Jeff, and if you have the talent, do a portrait of Jeff. And everybody was, you know, the few guys that could draw are like, oh yeah, sure, no problem. And everybody else was like, I really don't want to draw. And I'm like, come on, it'll be fun. And it finally got to Jeff, who wrote what Jeff wrote. And the idea was I was going to mail it to whoever, as along with some other stuff as, okay, we understand you and Jeff don't get along, but let's just let bygones be bygones. And here you have original art from the Yahoos, including the moderators, and work by Dave. We swear those scribbles aren't just scribbles. That Dave actually put pen to paper, and it's an original. No one else has this, and it was going to be, and that was the plan. Whatever package I was going to send was a small box, and this is a like 11 by 17 piece of paper, or slightly smaller, and it's like I just couldn't figure out a way of mailing both together without it being a pain in the butt. And then I moved twice, and it got shoved in somewhere, and then every time I'd stumble over, I'm like, oh yeah, I thought I mailed this, and it's okay, put it in my to be mailed pile, and then I'd forget about it and stumble over it a year later going, oh yeah, I should mail this. And finally it was in the pile of, okay, I'm just going to send this to Jeff and Jeff can have it. And that's when I got the call of, hey Matt, I'm dying.
Right.
And that's why it ended up with the Neil Adams prints, because, okay, I'll send it up to the archive, and it'll be one of the remembrances of Jeff that's permanently on file in the service archive. And in the future, when the Off-White House is open for tours, anybody that wants to go and see this that isn't happy with the picture on the internet, okay, here you go. It's going to be in this drawer, I look forward to when Eddie has to do the index of what everything is and where it is.
Yeah, when you get to something like that, you tend to, I'm speaking from personal experience as the first Cerebus archivist. You get to something like that and you're just sitting and staring at it. And you stare at it for like 10 minutes going, no, just put it aside. If you're going to be finishing the archive, you can't let these kinds of things throw you off. But yeah, what category does that go in? Other people's art? Jeff Seiler, it's... in so many ways, Jeff's in a category all his own. In terms of, yes, he was irritating. How many people that are that irritating to a specific group of people do those people sit down and then do a document drawing testimonial to that person and actually carry through on it? It's like, that seems completely contradictory. That you wouldn't do that for somebody that was that irritating. But we did. It was like you always wanted Jeff to be included, and so many times in spite of his own best efforts to sabotage that.
Very true. Very true. I mean,
okay. Go ahead.
Well, and that was, so I sent you the unsigned cards, because this way everybody that wants a card, it'll be signed by Dave. It just, that way there's no two-tier system of, well, you didn't really know Jeff, do you really deserve, it takes the, well, is this signature worthy out of it? Everybody gets a signature, it's just easier that way. And
there you go.
And when I sent a message to you saying, hey, I sent the cards, I also sent it to Margaret, because Margaret has cards, and that way, okay, Margaret, you send up, do what I did and get the cards back, that way everybody gets a signature. And she's like, well, shouldn't Jeff be signing the cards? And I'm like, hey, if my Ouija board worked, I'd get it to work, but it's not working, so Dave's going to have to do.
That's right. Because whatever else you can say about Dave Sim, he's still here. Yeah, I got a kind of funny look from Rolly when I handed them the stack of signed Jeff Seiler cards. Like, I thought this was a solved problem from long ago, and it's like, yeah, I'm kind of hoping this will be the last time that the Jeff Seiler cards come through here. But major brownie points to Dagan for doing the 301 card in the first place. And it's a beautiful job with the silver incorporated.
Well,
and if you have any questions about anything I sent, you say in parentheses, feel free to have Rolly send a picture of you holding the item, and I'll explain as best I can. Since my old friend the internet says you got the 15-pound box at the end of April. And yes, I did. And yes, it cost you like $92 to mail that?
Yeah, that's... I went to the post office and the lady's like, well, you know, it's going to be 92. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And she's like, she just kind of looked at me like, I know going to Canada is expensive, and I know this box is not light. So those two things together, I mean, it was under 100. I was kind of happy at that point.
Yeah, yes. And it's like you have to factor in you're finally getting rid of this stuff. It's like this has been haunting you in your I need to mail this pile, and getting rid of one of those is easily worth $92.
Well, especially because I had everything, including the Neil Adams prints, in a nice big box that was wide enough and deep enough to fit everything. And I'm going, I can make this smaller and lighter. You know, we'll just break it into two. It'll be better. But the box I had was sitting on a chair in my dining room, and once a week, my wife would look at me and be like, when are you going to clean that crap? And I'd be like, I'm working on it. You know, it's
really
taking the time to figure out what's in the box, to type up a letter saying, this is what's in the box, instead of just randomly saying, well, here's a box, and hopefully I didn't drop my car keys in it.
Right. And of course, Paul is looking at it going, I'm not seeing dining room here.
Yeah, pretty much. That's, I mean, it was I'd say at least a dozen times of, okay, when is this getting gone? It's like, as soon as I take, an hour or two to just, okay, empty everything out, put it back in one at a time, make sure. The other one was, I'd have something and I'd tell the kids to, hey, go put this on my desk, and immediately went into the box. And I'm like, the box is on the other side of the room. How exactly does this thought process work? And the child just looks at me like, well, you said go put it over there. And I'm like, I pointed where I wanted it.
You're arguing at their level now.
The fun part for me is when they pretend that I have a laser pointer at the end of my finger, and I point at something, and they come up to my finger and put their finger on it, and then start walking in what they think is a straight line, trying to see what I'm pointing at. And I'm going, you're off by 45 degrees. How exactly did you think this was working?
Really?
Kids are great, Dave. Years ago, you should have said, screw it, I'm going to have a baseball team, because right now you'd be probably going insane.
I think that's a fair bet, although you'd get an argument out of a lot of people over that one.